Have you ever understood why you're progressing across the board on paper, but you feel flat and uninspired? In this 5-minute video, I'm going to give you an understanding about why this is happening in 2026 and how you, as a 6 or 7 figure business owner, leader, entrepreneur, can not only regain your intensity, but dial back in and feel like you're in control of your performance. This comes down to a very old principle of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He founded positive psychology, and back in the day, this is what, if you go back to your parents' generation, this is how we would run life in general, okay? First thing you need physiological needs. This is sort of food, water, shelter, all that kind of cool stuff. You then need safety needs, which is your security, and which is actually your safety. You then need belongingness and love, which is actually to do with your relationships and feeling like you're wanted. You then have esteem, which is your accomplishments, whatever you're trying to accomplish. Generally, back in the day for your parents, it was more around just career or having your kids having a good life and that kind of stuff. And then you had a piece of the puzzle called self-actualization. Now what this is passion, purpose, vision, mission, potential, all that cool stuff, and actually how do you actually have creative authority inside of your process. Let's take a minute here a second. This fulfills 3 buckets. You've got basic needs, psychological needs, and self-fulfillment. Okay? Back in the day with your parents, it was get the physical stuff in check, make sure you got a house by the time you were 25, a happy missus, a happy life, all that kind of cool stuff. You'd go down to the pub with your mates and you'd be with your friends. They would be with their mates from the ages of 25 until 65. And then they would actually complete their job, get the golden handshake, and then they would start looking at passion, purpose, vision, and mission. And that's where most people will start talking around on their deathbed they didn't fulfill their potential, all that other cool shit. Yeah? The name of the game has changed in 2026. And this is purely on the basis of there's way more information, there's way more opportunity, and there's way more open box thinking about how you should actually live. If we look at the self-actualization piece, that self-actualization piece, I'm going to cut this out here and put that out, is actually gone to the middle, okay? So that self-actualization there is actually gone to the middle. Esteem has gone to the top, and belongingness and love they're kind of battling each other, but just for the sake of this argument, that's why. Whenever you are looking at your current process, fulfilling and knowing that you're fulfilling your potential is one of the biggest drivers of your performance. And the reason why you feel flat is purely on the basis of that when you were at the beginning of your business, nobody believed you. This is you. No one believed that you could do it. Whatever it is, start a business to $1 billion, for you to grow the cafe, for you to do whatever it is. If you're a founder and entrepreneur, you know that it's absolutely riot when you first start. And this bend is how you actually dial in, put all your chips in as an underdog. You believe in yourself, you're fighting against the free world, etc., etc. What actually happens when you scale, and we know entrepreneurship looks like that, what happens when you get to that top bit? The amount of people that I work with that are extremely high level in their business, they are physically in okay shape, their family are okay, their business is in cruise control, and they're now wondering why the fuck they feel so bored, frustrated, flat, and have no intent with their actions, is because they have lost their meaning of how to prove it to themselves. When we're in this part of the puzzle, what we don't need to understand here is that you understanding your vision, mission, passion, purpose for you to actually have to express your full potential is understanding what buckets they are placed in. And how would you actually regain and recalibrate that? This video is, it's for us to find the meaning of life in one video is futile because it's unfair and it's specific. There's one key piece that I want you to take, run with, and for you to assess across the board. Most people that are watching this no longer have got a challenge. Your challenge before was the business. Your challenge before was getting back in shape. Your challenge before was to find a husband, a wife, whatever, and actually grow a business alongside them and give you the fruits of your labor, insert whatever you want to do with your life. The piece that you're missing is if you are at cruise control, you've lacked intent and you're struggling, it's because you have now hit that uninspired piece of nothing is challenging you. How do you stretch that? This is where people start to get it wrong. People will either go full 120%, so go the wrong way, or they'll try and find the meaning of life. Like so many people will suddenly be in high pressure jobs, and what they'll do is they are wired for war, full aggression, fight, 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 fight. And then suddenly what they think they need to go and do is go and do a yoga experience in Bali where they have to have full shavasana, and they get back and they're even worse than they used to be, like a cagey lion. They forget who they are. Understanding your values is one of the most important tasks for a high performer, and being able to articulate that. Be daring, be different, be decisive. Bang, live by it. I run up against it. Being different automatically gives me challenge. Doing this, put myself out there into the world with whatever, so much more. Everyone's doing social media, blah, blah. Instead of me chasing algorithms, I'm finding connection. Which again, if you're watching this video this far, me and you have got a connection because you get it. 2 is actually putting your buckets into personal. Explore your capacity. When you're looking at a new skill or something you haven't done before, that is a challenge. You're trying to find the key piece between hardship, which is anxiety, and excitement, which is the unknown. That's the first mechanism of flow state. Yeah, we'll do a whole nother training around flow state and what that is. And there's some other people that are incredible, who I can link them in the show notes, or DM me. I can send you their YouTube channels. Flow state is where you're trying to look for, but you want that across your life, not just from a situation. So personal, you've got professional. I'm going to give you something about your professional process that will give you way more intent in your actions that you probably haven't heard before. High performance at your level in business is like Alcoholics Anonymous. The 12th step is to help somebody else. So many of you have talked around making more money, having more impact, having more status, having more freedom, you developing the thing, you building a bigger team, all this other cool shit. Well, actually what you've forgotten is actually how do you build better people. We're looking at it from a tribal standpoint, self-actualization and all this other cool stuff. That bit, I promise you, self-actualization for me is about helping other people. And if you're a leader, you want the younger version of you to not run into the same challenges that you did. So how do you actually gain more intent and more meaning around what you're doing is stop thinking about your own fucking process and start bringing people up to your level. How do you hold the standard? How do you develop a culture? How do you make people have a desired pull motivation to be a better person? That is for you to go step 12 and play the bigger game, because you're not taking any of this else with you. And lastly, we've obviously got the physical piece. The physical piece is it's your standards. It's your rituals, not routines, because routines can get broken. Rituals are when you take your supplements. I'll tell you every single day, first thing in the morning. Rituals around your performance. It's the same as brushing my teeth. If you don't brush your teeth, you're a dirty bastard. So it's the same thing, yeah? Physical piece, standards, rituals, and then also you've got your stretch. What's going to put you in a position where you're compromised? Because me and you both know when you're compromised, you actually perform at your best. So intentionally making something difficult, not to the point of it's impossible, and not that it takes over your life, but chasing numbers or having some form of KPIs around your physical well-being and your health is actually going to give you more longevity, more fun around your training, and make you hold the standard and stop this up and down, left or right, I may train, I may not bullshit that half of you are still doing, and actually dial the fuck in and make it be part of the thing. Sorry, I get a bit aggressive with that, it annoys me. So that's the athlete inside of me. I've gone full rugby there, I apologise. So, let's just recap quickly. The reason why that you're feeling unfulfilled and pissed off and overwhelmed is because the piece of the game has changed heading into 2026. If you want to learn more about this, Coaching for Performance by John Whitmore. That's where the book that I learned this from. It's absolutely game changer for leadership. If you're a leader and you're looking to learn more around actually how to coach, because coaching and leadership are exactly the same thing. Trust me, elite level. Self-actualization's changed. How do you leverage that? Second peak syndrome is rife, very normal at your level. You know full well that you've got more in the locker, but how do you have an impact across a wide plethora of people to get that level of status and freedom? So the 3 things you need to have when it comes down to finding your challenge. A personal one, how are you exploring your personal capacity? What things are you leaving unturned on purpose because you're scared of looking at them or alleviating them or pressurizing them? Me personally, currently right now from a mental performance standpoint, that's where I feel the elite level game is played, in between the inner game between your ears is where all this has happened, by the way. Mine is actually presence, fortitude, resilience, that kind of stuff. I'm very aware of, and I'm very I relish being in pain very weirdly. Whereas actually from a present standpoint, where my feet are, not projecting what's happening in the future and strategizing on things that don't happen, or reversing back and using stuff for old knowledge that may work in the future, that's all bullshit. What's happening right now in front of me right now is I'm filming this, but long term, the more present I am, the more effective I am in that situation, the more my future is going to be on a positive outcome. Yeah? That's my personal exploring my capacity. And I've got a coach for it. I haven't stood there and tried to do it by myself. A lot of you lot will do that as well, as you pretend it's like an accountant. If you're doing your own tax at your level, you're a knob. You give it to a specialist. I've got a mental performance specialist in my corner. I've got a business specialist in my corner. I've had a physical specialist in my corner. I've got Sam Lindley filming this. He's a specialist at this shit because it's not me. This is the production's not me. My point being, I find people that are better than me to help me and support me. That's how I do it from a personal standpoint and exploration standpoint. 2, as a professional, we use step 12. How are you playing the bigger game? What happens when you leave? What do people say about you? That's the difference that's going to get you to have more intent around your actions. And then lastly, that physical piece of the puzzle is having a set of standards that don't waver. They bend, they don't break. You have rituals around your performance that you understand that you can actually adopt, you can adapt, and you can leverage in times of challenge or travel or whatever. And actually, what's your stretch target? What are you going to explore that's going to hold yourself to a higher level? Because actually that's why you're struggling. It's because you've got no challenge. No pressure, no diamonds, not my saying. Again, I use that all the time. If you want pressure, then put some on you if you haven't got it. Because again, like I said, if you're in cruise control, it's because you're good at what you're doing, but there's still work to be done. Anyway, I digress. If you've enjoyed this video, I hope it's given you the keys to your car back and you suddenly go from feeling like you haven't got any intent to this won't help you find your edge, because the way that you find your edge is actually having actions and intent and actually doing the thing, not just a theory. Take this, run with it. I appreciate you watching this, and you need any help, there's more links underneath this video that will show you more parts of the puzzle when it comes down to leading yourself, making clearer decisions, and being more resilient and more robust with inside your performance. Catch you soon.